Now, this is actually a very sensitive story for me, but I want parents to learn because a lot of parents still make the same mistake in this 21st century. They are so strict to the point that their children cannot come and talk to them. Their children cannot come to them whenever they have challenges. Now, I grew up in one of these, not grew up per se, because we left that place while I was four, going on five. Okay, all these public houses, the one they call Face My Slap You. We left that compound in 1991, February 1991, and I just completed four in August. So you can imagine how young I was, but I can still remember the incidents vividly. Okay, now there was this brother. You know, brother, when you say brother in the African setting, he's like an older guy in the compound. You know, everybody just calls him brother, you know, out of respect. And it was at that Ojo axis. So a lot of LASU students used to rent houses off campus. I think he was one of those students, him and his brothers. They rented a room in that compound, you know. So as children, our parents would just allow us to just go to their house, we'll play. Sometimes weekends, you know, they'll buy Pepsi and share inside cups for all the children. It was better for so that young children will feel comfortable coming into their house, you know. Weekends, they'll play their stereo, and all the children in the house will gather, you know, put on their stereo, that their stereo, and they'll be playing it. You know, they'll now buy Pepsi and share in small, small cups for us. So we felt safe going to their houses. So there was this particular day, their door handle got spoiled, and they just decided not to fix it. That was their bait. So whenever they were coming from, they go out, they'll just slam the door. They won't lock it because you know once you slam it, there was no way anybody could open it. So they'll call the little children in the compound. They'll tell us, go and bring spoon. So they'll fix the spoon into the hole, turn it, and it will open. So there was this particular day, one of them was coming out of the bathroom, and there was a one in the corridor. So he said, come, 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 go bring spoon for me. I ran and I brought the spoon. I gave him the spoon. So when he was going to open the door, he made sure that I was in his front, in between me and the door. So he opened the door with the spoon, and I wanted to turn. He said no. He opened it, and you know, because he was at my back, the door was open. I just entered, and immediately I entered. This brother just dropped his bucket, sat down, and just opened his towel. Ah, my goodness! I was afraid and I was ashamed at the same time because that was me seeing a man in his element. You know, everything was ready for the very first time. I was afraid and I was ashamed. You know, so by the time I was about to raise my cloth up, the luck I had was I had an older cousin and my mom made her like our police. My mom had warned her that she should never let us out of her sight. So by the time he was about to raise my cloth up, in fact, I had already raised it up. My sister, just my cousin, just started shouting. She was calling me all over the bed. She was screaming, looking for me, you know, because my mom would have dealt with her if my mom had come back and did not see me with her. So immediately he heard her calling me, pushed me out and said, go, 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 go and come back, oh, come back. He kept on telling me to come back. And I left. In my innocence, that comeback was like a command, an instruction. And really, I was going to go back. I couldn't tell my cousin. By the time I got outside, I saw another neighbor of ours, and I sat outside with her. So at a point, and I told her, I said, I don't like this brother. This brother said I should come back. This girl told me we're exactly the same age, just few months. And this girl said, me too, I don't like the brother. I don't like the way he used to touch me anytime I enter his room. She said, don't go. Say, bad man, don't go again. When she said that, it was like a burden came off my shoulder. I said, okay, I'm not going to go because I finally saw somebody I could relate with. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that if he had done it to that girl, he had touched her, certainly there are so many other girls in the compound that he was touching because at a point, there was one of our neighbors staying at the beginning of the street. She caught her daughter, her 12-year-old, in the room with him, and I remember they were beating the girl under the staircase, you know, beating the girl. This is because for all the young children he had been touching, none of us had the courage to tell our mothers, most especially. We're so afraid of our parents that we couldn't go to them. If the first girl he had touched had reported to her parents, it would no longer be in that compound. Do you understand? So, because there was that fear children had for parents, that brother, in fact, was having the swell time of his life molesting people's children in that compound. He did it to that girl. Obviously, he did because eventually I started talking to my sisters and they were like, this and this and this and this and this and this. So I just want to advise parents, especially mothers, in fact, even fathers, don't have the kind of relationship with your daughters that your children, because even boys get abused, don't have the kind of relationship with your children that they cannot come and talk to you about anything. Looking back, I'm not thinking that, but why would I be so afraid? Because my mother was a teacher, my mother was very strict. Out of love, yes, my mother was extremely strict. The only love that I had was that she had put somebody to be watching us. If not, that brother would have just had a wonderful time and just chop and clean mouth and walk away. Do you understand? So, as mothers, and even till dates, as a parent coach, I have a lot of young girls. Sometimes they bring a girl that has been sexually abused, and you ask her, this brother, did it just happen suddenly? And she'll say, no, he started when he was touching me here, touching me here, touching me. And why did you not tell your mother? I said, I was afraid. It is always that fear. I was afraid. Please. Your daughters, most especially, should not be afraid of you. There's a difference between respect and fear. Put boundaries in place, set rules, you understand, but at no point should your daughter be afraid to come and talk to you. The very moment a man touches your daughter on the lap, you're the first person your daughter is supposed to run to. And if your daughter knows, if your children, basically, I'm not even going to be saying daughter, if your children know that they have the backing of their mother, they know that they have the backing of their father, the moment any person tries anything funny, the confidence with which they will resist that person, he's not going to try it a second time. So please, parents, build positive relationships with your children, especially for parents that are too strict. When you're too strict, you're always shouting at your children, they will be afraid of you, and so many things can go wrong. Saying it in the Nigerian language, plenty things go spoil. All right, so please, parents, let your children feel free to talk to you about anything and everything at any point in time. Be a parent that is accessible. Be a parent that has a listening ear. Come down to your children's level. Listen to them. Talk to them. Advise them. Teach them the red flags to ignore so that at the end of the day, our children will continue